Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Cesar Lomo from MTV, and first of all, welcome to Asai Bono Center in Newtown, Johannesburg, South Africa. Apologize for a delay, but this afternoon, it's my utmost pleasure to introduce you guys to our special guest. She's a mother, first and foremost, to two beautiful daughters. She's a wife to a guy that some of you guys may have heard about, a role model to numerous women across the globe, a tireless advocate for gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome on stage the First Lady of the United States of America, Mrs. Michelle Obama.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here today for this conversation with young people here in South Africa and across America. Let me tell you, I am so excited to listen to you and learn from you, and I'm especially excited for all of you to learn from each other. But before we begin, I have to just take a moment to say that our thoughts and prayers are very much with President Mandela, and we will continue to hold him and his family in our hearts. Now I want to start by thanking Sizwe for that very kind introduction and for moderating today's discussion. I'm thrilled that he could be part of this event, and it's wonderful to meet you. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for joining us here in South Africa and from across the United States of America. As you know, my husband has come here to Africa this week to meet with leaders across this continent about some of the most important issues we face, from ending poverty and hunger to curing disease to creating jobs in our global economy. And that's really why I wanted to meet with young people like all of you today, because all of you are such a vital part of that very conversation. Because in the coming years, all of you will be building the businesses, you'll be making the discoveries and drafting the laws and policies that will move our countries and our world forward for decades to come. So now, more than ever before, we need you guys to step up as leaders. We need you to be engaged in the pressing challenges of our time. Truly, because the fact is that both here in South Africa and in the United States, our journeys have always been led by young people just like you. And think back to the histories of our two countries. The anti-apartheid movement here in South Africa is a perfect example. Decades ago, under a set of laws called apartheid, people of different races were separated in just about every aspect of their lives, from the neighborhoods where they lived to the beaches where they swam. Black students and white students even had to attend separate schools, and the schools for black students were generally much worse. Now, over time, understandably, young people grew more and more frustrated with this kind of segregation and inequality. And 37 years ago this month, a group of students right here in Johannesburg, in a township called Soweto, yes, indeed, planned a peaceful march. They were protesting a new law requiring their classes to be taught in Afrikaans, a language which neither they nor many of their teachers spoke. Thousands of young people took to the streets, and before long, the police arrived, firing tear gas and bullets. Many people were killed, including children as young as 13 years old. Folks all across South Africa were inspired by those students, and more people started speaking out against apartheid, insisting that everyone in South Africa be treated equally no matter what the color of their skin. Now, young people played a similar role in the history of my country, the United States, back in the 1950s and 60s. Thousands of students led marches and protests against unfair laws that said that black people and white people had to attend separate schools, drink from separate water fountains, and that black people had to sit at the back of public buses. And when those laws were finally struck down, a small number of Black children began attending the all-white schools, including 9 young men and women who became the very first Black students at an all-white school in Little Rock, Arkansas. These teenagers became known as the Little Rock Nine. And when these 9 young people showed up for their first day of class in September of 1957, they were met by an angry mob of people who didn't think that Black children and white children should go to school together. The president at the time actually had to call in the military to protect these students. And for months, the Little Rock Nine endured relentless abuse and discrimination from their classmates and their teachers. But here's the thing, they kept on showing up every day, paving the way for generations of young people to get the education they deserve. See, those students in Little Rock and in Soweto were the exact same ages as many of you. They came from families just like many of yours. Their parents were maids and janitors and factory workers, so they weren't rich, and they certainly weren't powerful. But these young people decided to face down bullets and beatings and abuse because they desperately wanted an education worthy of their potential. They wanted the same things that so many of you want today. They wanted a good education. They wanted to go to college. They wanted to get good jobs. They wanted to provide for families of their own. And by taking a stand to change the course of their own lives, they changed the course of history. And today, all these years later, see, so many of us are still benefiting from the sacrifices they made. I know that I stand here today as First Lady of the United States of America, and my husband is president because of those 9 young men and women in Little Rock, Arkansas. So many of you here in South Africa have opportunities that your parents and grandparents never, ever imagined for themselves. But as we go about our lives today, it's so easy to take all of that progress for granted. So easy to get caught up in all the distractions that surround us. What's happening on those reality TV shows? Who's throwing the best party? Who's invited? Who isn't? I also know that many of you face real challenges in your lives. Maybe your mom has lost her job. Maybe your dad's not around. Maybe your school isn't as good as it should be. Maybe you have folks in your life who doubt that you have what it takes to succeed, who tell you that you're not good enough or smart enough to achieve your dreams. And let me tell you, I know a little bit about that, because that's what happened to me. See, when I was growing up, my family didn't have much money. Neither of my parents had the chance to go to college. And let me tell you, there were plenty of people who doubted whether a girl with my background had what it took to succeed. Plenty of folks urged me not to hope for too much, not to set my sights too high. See, but here's the thing, I made a choice. I decided not to listen to the doubters and the haters. Instead, I decided to prove them wrong. So here's what I did. I poured myself into my education. I woke up early to study. I stayed up late doing my homework. And I made sure I had the grades I needed to get in the universities that I dreamed of attending. And I kept on working until I got my law degree from one of the best universities in my country. And let me tell you, those degrees were my ticket to all kinds of exciting opportunities, jobs that let me pursue my passions and provide for my family and give back to my community and my country. So here's what I learned from my own life experiences. You might not control what family you come from. You might not control what school you go to or how other people treat you. but you can control whether you do your homework each night, right? You can control whether you go to school every morning. You can control whether you spend your free time hanging out on the streets, partying, playing video games, or instead invest that energy in achieving academic excellence by studying for those exams and spending time in the library, filling your minds with knowledge. Now, your friends might not always support those choices. You might get teased or bullied or ridiculed for choosing to focus on your education. But like my mother, who is here, always told me, she said, it isn't what people call you that matters, it's what you answer to. So you can choose to answer to the peer pressure and just go along with what everyone else is doing, or you can answer to your own hopes and dreams and start working to become whatever you want to be in this life. That's what Sia Kluza did. He grew up in the township of Intata, and his family certainly wasn't wealthy. But he studied hard in school, and as a teenager, he invented his own rocket fuel and won all kinds of awards. And I got to meet Sia in South Africa 2 years ago, and I got to see him again today. And he just graduated from Harvard University in the United States, where he's been developing new energy technologies to power Africa and save our planet. And then there's this other guy I know from the US. He was the son of a single mother whose father left his family when he was just 2 years old. And as a teenager, he didn't always make the best decisions. But then he got serious about his schoolwork. He went to college and law school, became a civil rights lawyer and a professor and a politician. And today, you might know that guy as my husband, Barack Obama, the President of the United States. You see, Sia and President Obama and so many others in South Africa and the United States, they are living proof of what the legendary South African President Nelson Mandela once said. Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Now, getting a good education won't always be easy. I know, no matter how hard you try. Let me tell you, you are going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You'll still have times when you feel lost and like no one understands what you're going through. But I want you to remember this. No one is born a rocket scientist. No one is born as President of the United States or of South Africa. No one is born being smart or successful. You become smart and successful through hard work, by doing those math problems, writing those papers, by getting things wrong and then trying and trying again until you finally get them right. And if you get discouraged, if you ever think about giving up, I want you to think about those students in Little Rock and Soweto. I want you to think about all the people throughout history who sacrificed so much for all of us. I want you to think of Carletta Walls. She was one of the Little Rock Nine who said, she said that no matter how bad things got, and this was a quote, she said, I was not going to give up because that way they would have won. And I wasn't about to let that happen. I want you to think about President Mandela and how even though he spent 27 years of his life in prison, he never gave up on his dream of more fair and equal and free South Africa. So here's what I tell myself. If President Mandela can endure being confined to a tiny cell, being forced to perform backbreaking labor, being separated from the people he loved most in the world, then surely I and all of you can show up for school every day and do your homework every night. If President Mandela can hold tight to his vision for this country's future during all those years he faced in jail, then surely you can hold on to your hopes for your own future. Surely you can do everything in your power to seize the opportunities that he fought for. That's how I try to live my own life, by honoring all those who sacrificed so much for me, from my dad all the way up to heroes like Madiba. Every day I do my best to make my life worthy of their sacrifice. And you all have everything you need right now to do the same in your own lives. You have everything. You have a brain in your head. You have passion in your heart. And I know that if you're willing to work for it and fight for it, you can be anything that you dream of. So today, I want to ask you all just to think about, what barriers will you break down? What legacy will you leave for the next generation? Will you study the science so that you can cure cancer and AIDS and save our environment? Are you going to study politics so that you can end poverty and violence and build good schools for every child in your country? Will you study law so that you can endure and ensure that for decades from now, no one ever has to face discrimination because of what they look like or where they come from or who they love? The answers to these questions are up to you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you all can use your education to make history and build a better future in the years ahead. Know this, I'm already proud of you. Know this, the president is already proud of you. The next step is yours. So I'm going to turn it back over to Sizwe so that we can get this conversation started. How about it? You all ready? All right. Mic check. Check, check.
Keep it rolling, keep it rolling.
Check, 1, 2. Isn't that what VJs do?
That's exactly how we do it, man.
But just smiling.
All right, I'm ready. Mic check, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Obama, for joining us. That was a very inspirational speech. We're joined by a lot of students from across the world. We're crossing over to New York City. We're crossing over to LA. We're crossing over to Kansas City. We're crossing over to Texas as well. Houston, yes. So it's going to be great. And we're also joined by Mr. John Legend, as you can see, as well as Victoria Justice.
Hey, John.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Now, ma'am, I was thinking, just as an icebreaker, I teach you a South African greeting. I'm Zulu myself, okay. So are you willing to try this?
I'm game.
Okay, let's try this. Say, Sawubona.
Sawubona.
Yeah, boy.
I like that.
Ninjani.
Ninjani.
All right, now we're off to a good start.
Okay, we're
ready.
On
a serious note, why was this project important to you?
You know, first of all, you all as young people inspire me. Not just because I'm First Lady, but I'm a mom. And I know that kids are our future. And one of the things that I think it's so important that I want to have happen or begin to happen here is that young people all across the world, you guys start to talk to each other and share with each other and start inspiring one another across the globe. That is the beauty of technology. That's what we should be using Twitter and all that stuff for. I'm still working on it. For you guys to begin to talk to each other and realize that you have so much in common, whether you are in Soweto or Houston or anywhere in the world, there is so much that you all can do together. And I want you all to start thinking about being citizens of the world. And in order to do that, you've got to start reaching out. And this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. I mean, I like the point you brought up about Twitter and social networks. So I'm actually going to cross over to Kansas right now. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Excellent. I was speaking to them, but you guys speak. There we go, there we go. Okay, guys. So my question to you guys is, how do you think social networks and, technology of today can help improve education? Anybody can answer that question.
They can't hear.
Don't be shy.
It's a Google Hangout, so sometimes we have technological difficulties. I don't know if these guys can hear us now.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, looks like they can. Okay, we'll repeat the question. How can social networks and I guess the internet connections that we have today, technology as a whole, improve education?
Did you get that?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Pass the mic.
All right, don't be shy.
Anybody can answer.
It's just the First Lady and all of South Africa watching you.
Yeah, no pressure.
Smile and wave. Smile and wave. All right, the mic's moving back. Do we have a taker?
Well, it's just a lot easier to access information and share it around the world, and it's easier to communicate with others. So also when you have like group projects, you're able to communicate with each other face to face, like over Google Hangout or Skype or something like that. So it's easier to collaborate and also just share information. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
I like that answer. How do you feel about that,
That
Mr.
works.
Obama?
I'm sure your parents would agree that that's a better use of social networking. As a mother, I agree. So start having some conversations. Do some homework on Google or whatever it is. The social networking thing.
Anybody here want to add something? You guys?
Yeah, I would like to say that.
He's got his own mic. It's cool. Pass that one back.
With internet, it's a virtual world. There's so many things that you learn. Comparing to a teacher gives you facts, that things that he knows, and then just teach you see what he knows. But with the internet, you get so different opinions from different people, and you can gather that and take what you want. It's like it's open for everyone. You learn so many things.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, Aubrey works at an internet cafe, so he knows a little bit about this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now Mrs. Obama. Yes,
Often the internet is used against me by my children because they can get on the internet quickly and prove us wrong in split seconds, record time.
Instead of disputes in the house, yeah?
Exactly.
That's the best way to do it. You were speaking in your speech about the importance of overcoming doubters. And when I took that away from your speech, Aubrey, I'm going to come back to you because in a way, you've kind of lived what Mrs. Obama was alluding to. You go to a school, or you used to go to a school that wasn't as good as the one you go to now. You pretty much pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, and you go to a good school. So do you want to tell us a story?
Yeah. What I really liked with your speech, Mrs. Obama, it's that your background doesn't determine where you go. Your background is just there so you were born there, but your dreams, it's what will take you to a better future. Because like with my background, it's more similar to yours, but there was a time where I said, you know what, I want to work hard. And I worked hard. Believe you me, things that I worked then, they still know them by heart because I really worked hard. And then with a bit of luck and through my hard work, I got a sponsor. That's a private sponsor. He sponsored me, took me to a better school. Now, in that better school, I learned so many things, different things. And then you also said that, we have to teach each other, learning and teaching each other. So what I did, what I always do, I'm still doing that. What I get from that school, I bring it back to my community. I teach my friends that I've left in the community, not to teach them only, but I teach them to also teach the next people, because I believe as we learners, we are better than our teachers because we understand each other. We learn better. So your background really, also my background, won't determine where I'm going. No?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's so proud of the fact that you're doing one of the most important things, that once you achieve, you're reaching back. You're reaching out always. That's one of our obligations. To whom much is given, much is expected. And that's how I know that the president and I, we live our lives. But I have a question for you guys around the doubters.
Yes, ma'am.
Is how do you deal with that? Especially as you're achieving. Do you have friends that are a little bit, a little hating? Are they trying to pull you back? And what do you do? I mean, I know that there are kids out there who are listening to us who struggle with that. How do you guys handle that?
Now, okay.
Kenzo, you want to take this one?
Okay, the first and foremost thing, when someone comes to you and say, you can't do this, just use reverse psychology and say, I can do this. Prove that person that what you just said now, it's so wrong. Just prove them wrong.
Then,
That's clear, straightforward.
Man, as a parent, you know if your daughters ever come back home and go, you know what, Mom, actually, I had to deal with this today, I had to deal with that today, and how would you deal with that? Haters
It's the same
everywhere, as
thing.
they say.
Haters are everywhere. They're right there. Completely embarrassed by the situation. But that's one of the things that I tell them, you know, it's more important what they think about themselves than what other people do. I don't want young people to be guided and influenced by other 12, 13, and 14-year-olds. You want to be reaching far beyond your peer group in terms of determining excellence. So find your role models. That's what I tell my kids. And hopefully I serve as a role model for them.
Absolutely. Speaking of role models, I actually want to cross over to LA right now. We've got Mr. John Legend.
Hi, how's everybody?
But more than making good music, John Legend actually studied through a scholarship himself. He's got his own foundation. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing very well. It's good to see everybody. I miss South Africa. I want to get over there soon.
You need to come back soon.
You hear that?
Okay, so now tell us why you're so passionate about education and obviously your foundation that works with South Africa most importantly, or Africa as a whole.
Well, you know, I think education is so important, and just like the First Lady said, you know, I didn't come from much money. I came from a humble background. Neither of my parents went to college as well, and I was able to get a scholarship to go to University of Pennsylvania, which is one of our best schools in the U.S. And education was such an important thing for me. And I know from my community, and I know from my neighborhood, that a lot of kids in my neighborhood, a lot of kids in my community didn't have that opportunity. And so many kids around the country and around the world don't have that opportunity. And as much as people like President Obama, President Mandela, and all these people have, you know, led the way for all of us and made a difference in our lives and inspired us, it's important for us to take advantage of all the opportunities that these great leaders have created for us. And we have to go out there and seize those opportunities, but we also have to make sure that as we've been blessed and as we've gotten all these opportunities, that we make sure that we create an environment where there are more opportunities for more kids. We still don't have enough great schools in America. We still don't have enough schools that are doing the best things they can do to make sure our kids are doing a great job. And that issue exists all around the world. And we can talk about justice, we can talk about equality, but if we're not making sure kids get a great education, then that promise of equality, that promise of opportunity can't be completely fulfilled. So I think kids have a responsibility to take advantage of every opportunity they get. And we as adults, we have a responsibility to make sure that all kids actually get opportunity and get those tools that they need to succeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Legend. I mean, for me, right, he mentioned Nelson Mandela. We've been privileged to live in that lifetime, or where we were able to, you know, to witness his life and his progression. For me, there's no greater icon, actually, than Nelson Mandela. Debo, I don't know how you feel about this. Like, what are your thoughts on Nelson Mandela? I mean, Mrs. Obama even mentioned him in her speech.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a true and faithful servant to his nation and to us. And it reminds me of one of the best quotes he ever made that Mrs. Obama mentioned in her speech. It says, education is the best weapon you can use to change the world. So that quote actually impacted my life in such a way that I also want to give back to my community. By saying that is that I volunteer at the YMCA in Soweto. I volunteer by tutoring primary school learners after school. And doing that, I feel great after that. And the other thing is that, and after school, definitely I want to become a teacher.
Yeah.
Because I know that teachers are there, first and foremost, to inspire. Teachers are there to encourage us, not to settle for the bare minimum that some of us have set for us. For instance, in South Africa, 30% has been made as the pass rate for us to achieve. But I tend to disagree because they make us feel, I think, dumb.
Yeah. You can definitely do better, yeah?
Because when I come to the teaching game, I will be there to inspire and encourage my learners to do more. And there are some organizations such as the YMCA, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
And there is an organization called Guiding Africa's Next Generation, which is there to be the solution to such programs we have, in our educational system. And one thing I've learned in life is that if I win, I will teach you. And if I lost, I will learn from you. Thank you.
That's very inspirational stuff. See, I always knew you were good. I didn't know you were this good. We did rehearsals and everything. Tomo didn't bring his A game until right now.
I want to go to your school.
You should.
Okay. I'm actually going to cross over to New York City right now with the YMCA because you mentioned the YMCA. And these guys, they've got a program. Somebody from the YMCA in the audience. We've got a program, these guys have got a program that's going on right now. We're going to be bringing over some students to South Africa. It's happening in July. So let's hear about that, guys. Please tell us more about that.
So, hello, my name is Suzanne Del Rosario, and I am a YMCA Global Teen. And Global Teen is basically a program that students just like me go domestic or international to solve issue and engage with other people to solve global issues such as poverty, education, and youth empowerment. And I actually have the privilege to go to South Africa this summer with my Global Teens. And we're going to places such as Durban, Cape Town, and St. And we're actually going to do a mini conference in South Africa with the South African teens, and we're going to talk about many issues that face us as students and them as well. And together we're going to try to, solve solutions because we can't do this on our own. And for me personally, it is the best thing to know that our world is much bigger than down the block, than the West Side Y, and then even anything else. So as students, we will come together and learn about many things that we may not learn just in New York City. And for me, it's going to give me an altering perspective that not only television or books or anything like that can give me. And as I go there, I will realize and get inspired. And Nelson Mandela is not only South Africa's leader and hero, but my hero as well. And for me to direct to Mrs. Obama herself, I would like to know that since Nelson Mandela was an inspiration for the world, how did he inspire you?
In endless ways. And first of all, thank you guys. Welcome. Well done. I'm so proud that you are branching out into the world. Very proud of you all. But Nelson Mandela laid the foundation for all of us. I mean, I remember being in law school when he finally was released from prison, and that was one of the most powerful moments in the history of civilization. And to think about the fact that he is alive today to watch all this transpire. Just imagine what he has seen, and I just am so happy that he's lived this long to see the realization of his sacrifice. And that's one of the reasons, as I said in my speech, why I work so hard, because I think about President Mandela when I think about how I carry myself and what I do and how I contribute to the world. I think about him, I think about Martin Luther King, and as I said, I think about my father. Because there is greatness under our noses in so many ways. Role models are in our backyards. They're right in front of us. They don't have to be presidents and prime ministers. They're the people who are working hard every day to make sure that we get just a few more opportunities. And it's up to us to uphold their legacies. So what about you guys?
Who are your role models, guys? Anybody? Someone will go with you.
I'd have to say that my role model is not Shay, as that may sound.
It's not. Absolutely. My children feel the same way.
We can hope.
Yeah, my mom sacrificed quite a lot to ensure that I get a really good education and that I live a very comfortable life. So I definitely have to say that she's my role model. Yeah.
And you've done some pretty good things with the opportunities she's given. Why don't you talk a bit about the work that you're doing?
At the moment, I'm helping with fundraising as well as volunteering at a safe house called Home of Hope, which basically it aids girls who've been sexually exploited through prostitution and human trafficking that are as young as 6 years old. And yeah, so basically we'd like to, well, I'm with the group with the volunteering and fundraising, and we would like to be part of their recovery as well as watching them actually grow as people, despite the fact that they've been through some very tough.
You were actually saying yesterday that some of the girls are now doing second, third year in varsity. Am I correct?
Quite a few girls have already reached their third year of university, and one of them is actually studying her second year of law at one of South Africa's best universities. So, yeah.
Okay. It's always inspiring to see young people getting involved in their community, you know, and serving the country. And Miriam, you want such a young person. You do something in your community as well. Am I correct?
Yes, I do. I've joined an organization called the Cloud Dog, and this organization believes that caring for the planet is a universal responsibility, regardless of your background. You shouldn't make excuses of who you are or where you come from. You can change the world. We work with people from London. So to me, that is very important because it shows that unity is very important. As young people as we are, if we start uniting as young as we are, we can actually make a huge difference in the world, and we can make this world a better place for everyone.
Now, we've heard from two young ladies on stage about what inspired them. I'm just wondering, man, was there a point maybe in your life where you decided...
So you're going to go to the old lady?
Well, I didn't say that. The more experienced lady. Let's put it that way. Was there a point in your life where you thought, okay, you know what? I need to actually focus now. This is what I want in my life. Or have you always been that way?
I've always been pretty focused. And maybe some of that has to do with the fact that I'm the youngest and I'm a girl. So I was always going to prove my brother wrong. I started out trying to prove him wrong. But I was always pretty focused. But as I mentioned to you, President Obama, my husband, was not. It wasn't until because he struggled a bit, because he didn't know his father, and you know, he was just, you know, just working on things. But it wasn't until he entered college that I think there was something in him that clicked that said, you know, I've got more to offer the world than what I'm putting out. And that's when the light switch went on for him, and he got very serious. And one of the reasons I use him as an example is that it is never too late. That's one of the things he tells young people. It's like, he made a lot of mistakes. We've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes. He made big mistakes. But you can overcome those things, and you can learn from them, and you can grow from them. You know, so it is never too late, but it does require hard work.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the message. I actually want to cross back over to LA now and speak to some of the guys over there. John, I don't know if you maybe can pass the mic around.
Yeah,
Who
I'll
are some
pass
of
the
your
mic.
role models, guys?
Who are you guys' role models? Anybody want to answer that question? Come on, don't be shy. Hold on, right? I'm bringing the mic.
Where you go?
There he goes. John's going in.
Yeah,
He's going
taking
deep.
charge.
He's going in the back.
My name is Eric, and then I would like to say, I guess the biggest role model for me, growing up, would be my parents. Like, I guess I could relate to Obama, as in, like, I made a lot of mistakes, I guess, and my parents have always been there to, like, back me up and help me out and everything. And well, they always, like, find a way to pick me back up, I guess, help me out and look forward, I guess. Like, the biggest advice I guess I have gotten from them was, as in my future, like, I could work hard and not get paid as much, but I could work smart and get paid much more than anyone else. It's one thing that always stuck to me, I guess. And well, yeah, I just want to finish high school and go to, like, a good college.
Thank
You're an advocate for gender equality.
Absolutely.
And we were speaking backstage, and you're saying, especially with women, like when they come to a position of leadership, they can lead differently. Do you want to speak about that a bit?
And we were talking about this a bit. I think one of the questions, Aubrey, was, why do I advocate for women's issues? And I said, because I'm a woman. I have 2 daughters. But it's also because when women prosper and grow, their countries prosper and grow. We are at the heart of civilization. So as women, it's important that we are healthy, that we are educated, that we invest in ourselves because we're raising kids. But when we reach those levels of leadership, it's important for us to bring everything that we are to the table. And by that I mean you don't leave your womanhood at the door when you become a leader. You bring those qualities with you. And I think that that's something that we as women have to embrace. You know, it's not just about getting the education, it's about bringing our gifts and our sensibilities and our perspectives as women to the table. It's also true when it comes to youth and minorities. You know, you don't leave who you are at the door. You know, one of the reasons I share my story so often when I talk to young people is that I'm proud of how I grew up. I'm proud of the challenges. I'm proud of the humble beginnings that I've come from. And I bring that to everything that I do. And I hope that all of us, you know, all of you here, all of you listening across the United States as well, that you remember that, you know. It's not just about getting a seat at the table. It's about what you do with that seat. And do you bring others to the table? Do you add a unique perspective to the conversation? And I want women to really own that part of who they are.
Actually, just keep that in mind, guys, because later on I want to ask you, once you got the education, what do you do about it? And also, what sort of jobs you'd like ideally? Everybody, that goes very well. Just keep that. Keep thinking about it. For now, we're going to cross over to Houston. We're going to speak to a lady who goes by the name of Victoria Justice. She's part of an organization called
Hey,
Girl Up.
Victoria.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, how are you guys?
Very cool, thank you. So tell us about Girl Up. How'd you get involved?
Definitely. I'm so excited to be part of Girl Up, and I'm actually on tour right now with Big Time Rush, and we've set up Girl Up booths at every concert date to get people involved and to spread the message. And I actually wrote a song for Girl Up, and I filmed a music video, and it's just another way to get people to bring awareness to Girl Up. And it's just about giving girls in developing countries a better future and more opportunities, and for them to be able to fulfill their full potential as future leaders. And I'm here with Joy, who is the teen advisor for Girl Up. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi, Joy.
And Mrs. Obama, I just have a quick question for you. As a mother, what advice do you give to your daughters about their education?
You know, one of the things we talk about all the time is that I want them to learn to love learning. You know, I try to get them not to just focus on grades. And I know that may sound like a contradictory message to some teachers and parents, but some of the time, we as adults, we sort of suck the life out of the fun of learning with grades and tests and, you know, and it's so important for young people to learn to enjoy getting their education, to, you know, fall in love with books, to enjoy writing, to, you know, love the art of conversation and discussion, and to be able to do that freely without judgment, because it's that kind of practice that gets you ready. You know, the only way you become a good writer is to write often, write freely, to make mistakes, to have your work corrected. The only way you become a great orator is to speak, and to speak loudly. And that means you're going to mess up. You're going to say some things wrong. You're going to, you know, fall silent when it's when the cameras come on. It's happened to all of us. But I don't want my daughters to be afraid of learning. I want them to be confident learners, and I want them to find the passion in education. And I hope that all of you young people listening start thinking about that. Don't think of school as a chore. Think of it as a tool for your future, for growth, for opportunity, and try to embrace it as a wonderful gift.
Absolutely. I mean, one person that I know definitely agrees with you is Aubrey. He's a tutor of some of his friends. He's mentioned that. But he was talking yesterday about how it's important to develop new teaching techniques because not everybody learns the same way. You want to speak about that quickly, Aubrey?
All right, thank you. Now, the person that I work with at the Internet Cafe, the owner of the Internet Cafe, we came up with these 2 strategies that we think they should use in learning, in education. The first one, we call it conceptualization. Like with conceptualization, it's like whatever you're teaching the person, make him or her understand how is it going to apply it in real life. How is it going to work? Maybe let's say, for example, you're doing your maths, your calculus, you need to explain the rate of change, everything, the velocity, like how does it apply in real life? And then the second one is visualization. Whatever you teach the person in writing, try to bring it into the virtual mind. Use the spatial intelligence that the person has. The box that you're talking about, the shape, the square that you're talking about, just make the person visualize it, because in that way it becomes more interesting. So I think those 2 strategies can be used to broaden up or to break the frontiers of education. Like,
and in your opinion, Mrs. Obama, what would you say is needed maybe to improve education globally, just in general? What do we need to do more of?
Well, we can't underestimate the power of resources. You know, what I say in the U.S. all the time, we know what good schools look like. They exist all over the country and all over the world. But we have to have the will and be willing to make the investment to make sure that these excellent schools are available for all students. And we have to be committed as adults, as politicians, as teachers, and it takes an investment. You know, when you look at what we care about, it's how much money we're willing to put towards it. And education, as we know, is not free. So it takes resources, and it also takes making sure that we have just a wealth of quality educators. One of the most important functions, careers, professions out there is education. It's teachers. You know, other than my mother and my father, I've had teachers who've inspired me. I remember teachers from 3rd grade and 5th grade, the things that they said to me, the conversations that we had today like it was yesterday. So teachers have a powerful impact, and we want to encourage more young people like you guys to go into education, and we as nations have to value teachers. You know, teachers should be far more exciting than rappers. I'm sorry. I love music. John, you know I love you, but you know, I mean, but I would love it if young people were idolizing educators like they were, you know, ball players and singers and dancers, you know? That would make a big difference.
And on that note, I told you guys I'd be coming back to you, so we're going to go straight to LA now. The question is, once you've got the education, right, what do you do with it? So if you had an ideal job, what job would that be? LA? Your
Come on,
ideal
LA.
job. Anything in the world.
It's rapid fire.
All right, well, my name is Zach. If I was to choose any job, I would want to be a movie director because I like film, and yeah, it's really interesting. It's very interesting to me. I know I'm studying because I'm shy right now, but yeah.
Nah, it's okay, but you know what? We need to move quickly, so we're going to move on to New York. It's rapid fire. It's one sentence. If I had the ideal job, it would be New York.
My name is Sultana Bouillon. I'm 14 years old, and I'm from the YWCA in NYC. And my dream job is to study nursing and establish an international organization to help homeless children to get an education, find a new home, to have a better life.
Okay,
outstanding.
Cool. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to Kansas City. Kansas City, same question. Ideal job. If you had the ideal job, what would that be?
Rapid fire.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and I am a part of the KC STEM program. And with my education, I plan to pursue a teaching job to teach kids in third world countries.
Yeah, boy.
Excellent.
Okay, let's move on to Kansas City.
Or Houston.
Oh, sorry, it's Houston. Sorry, my mistake.
Houston, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Joy. I'm a Girl Up advocate. And when I grew up, I want to be a patent lawyer, which does all the behind the scenes work, making sure medicines are safe. And I want to do that because my mom has some illnesses that don't have treatments. And I want to make sure that her and other people around the world are healthy and live the lives they want to live.
Excellent.
With my education, I plan to be the universal president of education in order for the world to know the importance of education.
Dream big.
Don't let the haters tell you anything else. Miriam.
With my education, I plan on saving people by giving them a second chance in life.
Stand.
Samo, what have you got for us?
With my education, I'd like to become a journalist just to make sure that people's stories are heard, especially those who don't get the opportunity.
With my education, I'd like to be an investment analyst. I love investment so much. And from there, I'd like to be an inspirational leader, just to inspire others that cannot do what I do, inspire them in life.
Okay. Now, Mrs. Obama, if you just... Yeah, thank you very much for that. If you just rewind back in time, how would your 15-year-old self answer this question?
Oh, see, that's the amazing thing about dreaming. I could have never dreamed of this, you know? Not just of being First Lady, but sitting here in South Africa with hundreds and hundreds of kids across the globe talking about dreams. So I could have never envisioned this, which to me that's a lesson to you. Keep your big dreams because your dreams big because you probably can't even imagine what life has in store for you. You know what I'm saying? You probably can't even conceive of it. But if you are working towards excellence, right? If you are always thinking about reaching the highest heights, then no matter what you do in life, you'll be prepared. You know, the one thing that I can say is that I feel prepared for my life. You know, I feel like I can do this, you know, and I want you guys to be in that position too. And the only way you're going to do that is to be serious learners and to take some risks. And if I were to do anything else differently in my 15-year-old self, as my 15-year-old self, I would take more risks. I wouldn't be as afraid as I was at that age to fail. You know, I would travel more. I would try different things. I'd be okay with stumbling because I'd realize that the mistakes you make when you're 15 and 17 and 19 are nothing. You recover from them. You know, the biggest embarrassments go away. And if only I could have lived my life with more freedom then, and if I only knew then what I know now. So I just want you guys to remember that. Take some risks. Don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to embarrass yourselves. Don't be so shy that you don't ask the question, that you don't even try, that you take yourself out of the game before you even start, because there's no telling what life has in store for you, okay?
I was going to ask you, oh, sorry, man, I keep interrupting you guys. Feel free to clap. Because I think we're running out of time. But I'm actually going to change that question now. Because you've got two daughters, right? And so instead of speaking about yourself, what are your hopes for them? What are your hopes and dreams for them?
I want them to be decent people, first and foremost. I mean, I want them to be kind. I want them to be humble. I want them to be respectful. I want them to work hard at whatever they choose to do. And I want them to give back. I always want them to be thinking about, what am I going to do for somebody else? You know, how am I going to help somebody else with my life? How am I going to use my life to inspire somebody in some way? And it doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to make money, and it doesn't have to land you on the front page of the paper. It just has to, you know, be something meaningful to somebody's life other than your own.
Thank you very much for that, ma'am. I'm going to come to you quickly. I mean, after hearing what you've heard this afternoon, what are you going to change your life? What are you taking away from this discussion?
Definitely. What stood out for me was taking risks. I honestly think that as teenagers, we're very careful about what we do and whatnot. afraid to fail and like very worried about what others think about us. So I think that I'm definitely going to be taking a lot more risks, and yeah.
Tiemsa.
Okay.
Are you feeling inspired, first of all? Let's start there.
I am inspired. I'm inspired in a way that now, if they said tomorrow I could become a teacher, I would become one tomorrow.
Miriam?
I feel very inspired. What I've learned today is that believing yourself is a very important thing. I'm gonna take what I have and use it to the best I can.
Okay. Oops.
What I took, what sounded really important for me, is like your dreams. Keep on dreaming. No, yeah, your dreams have to be big, because the more you dream, the bigger you get. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks to everybody across the world for actually tuning in. Thanks to you guys as well for joining us here in the room. 200 people that you guys didn't get to see, but trust me, they're here. Maybe I can scream so you can hear them. Ideas, anything that maybe you learned from young people?
Well, I learn from young people every day, but what I hope for all of you here and out there and all the young people who are seeing this, that this is the beginning of a conversation that you are going to keep having with one another, that you keep sharing your ideas and your passions, and you find each other in the world. Okay, try to find ways to find each other in the world. So I hope this is the first of many of these kind of conversations that happen across the globe. And if that's the case, then I'm proud that we helped to get it started here. And Sizwe, thank you so much for your work. I want to thank John. First of all, I have to say shout out to John, because it's like 6 in the morning in LA. So to all you California people, way to go, being up, being awake. Very proud of you, John. We'll see you soon. Love you. You are amazing. And Victoria, thank you, hon. You are terrific. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring young girls. And tell Big Time Rush I said hey. Sizwe, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So yeah, man, education, that's what leads to success. And I think young people all over the world need to come together and just try and make change. So thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.